Easy Content Delivery Network is a lightweight, incredibly simple alternative to addressables for the Unity editor. Whether you need to deploy downloadable content, reduce your initial app size, supply assets for in-app purchases, or build a dynamic environment for content updates, EZ-CDN can do it all. Let's get started. Okay, hello there, my name's Splend. I'm going to show you today how to get EZ-CDN up and running on your Unity project. So the first thing we're going to do here is open up a Unity project from scratch, and we're going to install EZ-CDN and get the sample running. Okay, so I've just created a sample 3D project using the Core 3D template in Unity version 2021.3.18 LTS. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab the package from the asset store. We'll download, we'll import. Let's take all the documentation and everything for now. Okay. So the first thing we're going to want to do is open up our settings. And you'll notice we have fields for the project ID, the API key, and then under Manage Environments, we have to get some environments on the dashboard. So you're going to want to log in at the cloud site at cloud.unity.com. And now that we're here, we're going to want to navigate to our new project. There it is. And if your project doesn't show up here, you probably just have to make sure you're logged in on the Unity Hub and or that your project is linked to Unity services. And you could look up tutorials online for how to do that. Now, what you want to do here is you want to go to Cloud Content Delivery. If it's not showing up in these shortcuts like it is for me, you can go under Products and just search for it. Easy enough. So one of the things we need is our project ID and our API key. So we can get our API key here just by clicking API key, click the copy button. That goes in your API key slot up here. And these automatically save. There's no save button you need. To get your project ID, click the projects tab on the left, click your project, and your project ID will be the third one down. Click the copy button, bring that over to your settings and paste that in there. And finally, your environments. You're going to click Add New, go back to that page you were just on, click Environments, and there's your production environment. You could also make more environments here, like if you want a dev or a staging environment, and you can get those environment IDs as well. Click on the environment and you can copy the ID to there. Recommend naming this to match the environment you took it from, just for organization purposes. Okay, so that's the 3 fields you need to get started. After this, it's all about customizing to your needs. The first thing you're going to want to do to customize is, of course, add your runtimes. So what runtimes is your project going to be running in? That's really just, up to you. In my case, let's say I'm making a Windows app, just a normal Windows video game that runs for Steam or something like that. I'm going to want to add the Windows player, and the build target for that is standalone Windows 64, for me anyway. You also want to add Windows Editor, so you can test your assets in the editor. And you're also going to use the build target standalone Windows 64 for that. What that means is when you build asset bundles, it's going to create only one version of the asset bundles that can be used both in the editor and for the game. Well, let's just say for completion's sake here, I want to port my game to Android and iOS, both pretty common use cases. For Android, the build target is Android, and for iOS, the build target is iOS. So, and again, these build targets and runtimes, that's Unity doing their thing, having them all be different and weird. Of course, you could look up the documentation to understand that, but seasoned developers already know kind of what the gist is here. This is essentially something you could read during runtime, and this is something that needs to be read during editor time. This is just linking those two things so that this plugin will work properly. You could pretty much ignore these included types for now. These are very common use cases. Later on, if you make any scriptable objects or things that need to be included, you could add them here by finding it in this list and then just clicking the Add button down there. And there's other ways you can do that too. Other ways to make sure that the plugin includes all of your assets, and that's all covered in the documentation. Okay, that's it for setup. We're done. Now, as far as testing, let's go ahead and grab our test scene. So there's currently a bug in certain versions of Unity where the samples buttons aren't showing up in the package manager. If my samples aren't showing up for you here, just right-click on your EZ-CDN folder, or just double-click and open it up and click Show in Explorer, and you'll see the samples folder in there. You could just drag this over into your scene, or just copy it, and then open up your assets folder the same way. You could paste it here, and you could just rename it to get rid of the tilde there. Okay, and then it'll show up in your project like so. So we'll open up our sample scene. And if all went as intended here, go ahead and hit the play button. And there we go. We downloaded our cube successfully. And we downloaded another cube successfully. Now this is using the built-in editor workflow in the settings. What that means, we'll shut off the project to see this. So that was a successful test of it downloading it from the editor. The Use Editor Assets checkbox is checked. If you want to test the CDN, which you should, uncheck the Use Editor Assets box here. And then we're going to go ahead and click the Generate Buckets button. And this is going through the command line interface now and generating these buckets on Unity's CDN. And you can see that it's done so down here in the console. Now we're going to go ahead and do our first build. Tools, EZ-CDN, build. Check the platforms that you want to build for. You don't need to do a clean build here because this is your first build. Technically, it is a clean build. A clean build will just delete all the existing assets and make sure that everything is absolutely clean. You might want to do that before major version releases. But for now, we're just going to click the build button and let that run. Not really much to show. It's going to take the prefabs we have in the samples folder and upload those to your CDN. That's it. Done. Now with our settings having the, again, I'll show you just one more time. Use editor assets is not checked, so it will not download assets from the editor. It'll get them from the CDN now. Hit the play button. Downloaded the cube and downloaded the other cube. So that's it. It's that easy. EZ-CDN is done. Feel free to look through the sample event workflows here in the sample scene to see how some of those work. Or, look through the documentation in the description here in the package or on my GitHub, and you will be able to, use this for whatever use case you want. So enjoy the product, and if you have any questions, of course, you could reach me at info@splensoft or support@splensoft.com. Thank you.